Tanakwe, Talofa, and good morning to you people of the internet. Welcome to Right in the Childhood. On this part of the show, I look at a children's TV show or movie, whether it's from the 1990s or the 2010s, and either give it the praise it deserves or send it to the fiery pits of hell where it belongs. One of the shows that I grew up with was Thomas the Tank Engine, but that's actually not the show we're discussing today. In 1988, Robert D. Cardona and David Mitton, who worked on Thomas, went on to produce their very own show with a very similar premise. And that show was called TUGS.
This is TUGS.
TUGS was a VHS series that ran for a year from 1988 to 1989 and followed two tug fleets in Big City Port. I had two cassettes with 5 episodes, which I vastly enjoyed, as did my older brother. However, I wanted to revisit this series. Is it a diamond in the rough that deserved more? Or was it simply a sad rip-off of one of the most well-known kids shows in the UK? Well, all aboard as we look at TUGS. The series revolves around two rival fleets of tugboats as they competed in the 1920s. The main protagonists are the Starr Fleet. No, not that Starr Fleet. Captained by Captain Starr. There are 7 tugs in all. OJ, a paddle steamer, Warrior and Big Mac, 2 heavy workhorses, Top Hat, a very posh railway tug, 10 Cents and Sunshine, 2 switches who are like the Thomas and Percy of the show, and Hercules, the ocean-going tug. Starr narrates the show and is voiced by the legendary Patrick Allen.
We're a good crew, striving to be the best in the port. Not always succeeding, but proud of their work.
Damn, that voice is sexy. Then there is the second fleet, the Z-Stacks. Captained by Captain Zero, they compete for contracts on the port, often with dirty tricks. 5 tugs serve in the fleet: Zoran, Zebedee, Zack, Zip, and Zug. You also have a few recurring characters like Lily the Lightship, Coast Guard boats, Puffer a steam train, and Grampus, a submarine. It's a colourful array of characters and their voices suit them well. As much as I loved Ringo Starr's narration of Thomas the Tank Engine, I like having separate voice actors for the characters, given they're done well. And here they are. I might explain more in another episode, but in my opinion it asserts their unique personalities, more than hearing the voice of a former Beatle trying to sound like a woman sometimes. Just a little side note, do you think there's a special factory that keeps chugging out these living vehicles? Like, is there a factory in the Clyde or Sittingbourne that keeps bringing us all these trains and boats? Sorry for that random train of thought, but I thought it was worth thinking about. Let's continue. The setting of Big City Port, well, no original name, is well made and presented. It does look like a 1920s portside town, from upriver to the ports to the scrapyards. It's extremely well made, rather than simply being a waterworn sodor. It's really immersive in sequences at night, which provide some of the moments that terrified me about the show. Searching for a tug on a foggy night.
Sunshine!
Ambushing pirates. And the scariest moment, 10 Cents and Sunshine seeing a ghostly galleon complete with music and scary faces. And personally, Nostalgia Critic, I think this is one of the scariest nostalgic moments for me. It was terrifying. Even as an adult, I get a shiver down my spine watching it. I even remember in the very first episode of the show, I was terrified during the nighttime scenes there. It's also a stark contrast compared to Thomas. The island of Sodor is quite bright. Not always colourful, but quite bright in most areas. Though, when need be, it can decently do a theme of terror, which can send the kids scurrying behind the sofa as if they had seen a Dalek. Big City's colour scheme is mainly brown and grey, a representation of the industrialisation of the 20s. sheds, ports, moored ships, cranes and the like. The brightest elements here in TUGS are the characters. Your attention is on them, rather than a bright, distracting set. Now we come to the story. There's no massive collective story or even story arcs, but still they do really well individually. Episodes are generally 15 minutes, so it can be a challenge to fit a good story into one episode, but they do well with it. One example is my personal favourite, Pirate. In this episode, 10 Cents is tasked with mooring a barge by an old quay for the Z-Stacks, but it goes missing. 10 Cents is accused and punished, but Grampus manages to see the real culprit. As a result of the thefts, Zero and Starr join forces and order pairs of tugs to set up an ambush. It turns out Sea Rogue, the pirate, is being forced to as a ransom to real pirates who threaten to sink his uncle. Rogue joins 10 Cents, Sunshine and Grampus and ambush the pair, who go after Zip and Zuck. For a 15-minute episode, it gets in a lot of good storytelling. I would go as far as to say some of the stories are better written than some of Thomas's own, with few predictable plot twists, but easy enough for children to enjoy too. This episode was particularly thrilling and exciting, though the lesson it seems to try to teach seems a bit generic. But hey, it's still solid. Heck, I'm 20 years old and I think this show can tell a really good story for its demographic, even watching them today. Sadly, it only got 13 episodes, with most of the props going to Britt Allcroft, who refitted them for Thomas. Mitten returned to Thomas, though Cardona would work on Theodore Tugboat in Canada, which ran from 1993 to 2001, and would allow the tugs to be used in Salty's lighthouse. But I think the use of the tugs in Salty isn't that great, and is a massive departure from the original. I'd even go as far as to say it's kinda insulting. I won't name specifics, but you can find episodes on YouTube if you want to see for yourself. If someone would be willing to take up tugs and keep adding to the series, it would be great to see what new stories could come from Big City Port. However, fans of the series have been creating their own series or fan episodes. There are audio episodes made, and I've even seen a fan series set during the Second World War, which I totally recommend. They put a lot of time and effort, and it's simply fantastic. Looking back, it's aged really well. The stories aren't amazing, but are good quality for a kids show. The characters are fun and enjoyable, and the entire city is extremely well put together. It's not the best kids show, but I definitely think it's one worth visiting, especially if you're an old Thomas fan. Truly a diamond in the rough, TUGS gets a 9 out of 10. I do hope you enjoyed that. These kinds of shows are really fun to revisit, and again, it would be great to have a continuation of the show at some point. Are any of you guys big Tug fans? Feel free to let me know in the comments. But that's another childhood over. So until next time, goodbye, haere rā.